Greetings Internet, it's Monica, and today I am, yes, low-key cosplaying as Bee from Bee and Puppy Cat. But second of all, I am here today to do a new video. This one is based off of my love and adoration for To All the Boys I Loved Before, and today I wanted to make a video, a bit of a open letter, if you will, to Netflix and really any production company out there. An open letter of 5 books that I think deserve adaptations. Dear Netflix, please adapt these books next. Or Hulu or Amazon or Apple, I don't really care. I just want them done. So if you've been following my channel for like a day, you probably know what my number 1 book is going to be, because I've basically been asking for this for years. And that is The Diviners by Libba Bray. This, I think, would be the most amazing series. Each book could be one series, one sort of monster of the season, and it would just be so perfect. 1, it plays off of the love of spooky things, which I think we've seen with Stranger Things blowing up. 2, it plays off of everyone's love of the 1920s. I mean, people love the 1920s. And this book is set in the 1920s. And 3, it's like Heroes, but much better than Heroes. Like, it's actually successful at what it's trying to do, which Heroes, as much as I love Heroes, kind of failed. Anyways, The Diviners, if you are not familiar, is set in the 1920s, and it is a paranormal YA series. It follows a whole cast of characters who are diviners. They basically each have this power awakened within them, whether it's being able to read objects or being able to heal or start fires, whatever. And so it has this like spooky vibe to it. The first book is like a actually quite spooky, scary ghost story, but at the same time it has this amazing heart to it, which is driven by an incredibly diverse characters and a really, really well-researched historical period piece. I think one of the things that I love so much about the series is that it doesn't just, I think with a lot of media about the 1920s, they really focus on like the flappers, and that's about it. And you don't really see the intense racism of the time period. You know, you don't see the xenophobia, you don't see the fear and hate towards Asian immigrants, you don't see what it was like to be gay or like any part of the LGBTQ plus community during that time period. You don't see what it was like to be disabled during that time period. And what I love so much about this book is that it explores all of those parts. It is so diverse, and at the same time it's telling an incredible story that is so nuanced and so timely. Like the third book in the series, there's going to be 4 total, so the 4th one is almost out, but the third, well, hopefully, we don't have a date yet, but hopefully it's almost out one day. But the 3rd book in the series literally had me in a puddle of tears because it was so on point for like today and the way that America seems to be going today and what America needs to be doing. And it's so good, and it's set in 1920s New York City. What more do you need? Like, what a fantastic, fun series to potentially launch and be the owners of. And like, it's wild to me that no one has adapted Diviners yet, because I just feel like every time I think about it, it just like is such a perfect story to adapt. Like, I just feel like so many people, so many audiences would gravitate and love this story. It's wild to me that Libba Bray's books in general have not been adapted. Like, all of them. Like, Beauty Queens deserves its own film, not whatever that like other weird Lord of the Flies film that they're trying to make is. Like, Beauty Queens legitimately should have been a film. It's so amazing. The Great and Terrible Beauty also should have been a film. All of these things should have been films or miniseries. Could have happened, should have happened, hasn't happened yet. Here is my plea for someone, anyone out there, please make this a thing. Make my dreams come true. That's all I want. Literally, if all I got was Diviners, I would be thrilled. However, I do have 5 books that I want to see adapted, and the next one I think is another one that I know could do so well. I think would just hit on so many topics I think people are passionate about and interested in when it comes to television media, and that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Now this one I think could be an absolutely stunning miniseries, a drama miniseries. One, I mean, I think everyone loves old Hollywood. I think people love like being able to get a glimpse into that sort of like world of glamour, but then it also has like, I could see the drama of that story just really working so well in either a film or a miniseries. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo basically follows Evelyn Hugo, who is this woman who at the beginning of the story, you see her start from nothing and you watch as she climbs her way to the top of the Hollywood ladder. It has amazing lesbian, gay, and bi rep within the story. It offers a really interesting discussion around the sort of whitewashing in Hollywood, especially at that time period of not being able, of like if you were white passing, of having to sort of just completely erase your identity as a person of color. And it's absolutely fascinating and such a beautiful story. It mixes a little bit of modern day with today. It has a fantastic mystery running through it. It has so much drama, so much human intrigue in it. I just think it could work so incredibly well as a miniseries or a film. I know that they are actually, I think they've already commissioned, or I think they've already bought the rights to Taylor Jenkins Reid's most recent upcoming book, which is Daisy something. I forget the name of it, but that one I'm pretty sure has already been optioned, which is super exciting. So I'm hopeful for this one, because I've often noticed that if one story by an author gets adapted and it's successful, then you'll often see more coming from them. So I'm hopeful that the Daisy one does really well, and then we get Evelyn Hugo, because Evelyn Hugo is going to be, it just could be such an amazing story to watch. It could be so beautiful. Like, old Hollywood is so beautiful on screen, and I love it. So I hope it could happen one day. The third book that I would love to see adapted is I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maureen Gu. Now, this book I specifically chose. I love both of Maureen Gu's book, both The Way You Make Me Feel and I Believe in a Thing Called Love. I think both of them could make great romantic comedy films that any company could produce. Anyone who wants to do it, please buy the rights. I say this as though there's not like a lot of other complicated elements that goes into buying the rights for a piece of media to adapt it. I understand that, but at the same time, anyways, specifically I chose I Believe in a Thing Called Love because I think it plays off of a lot of things that are already like really popular right now, like for example Korean drama. So if you're not familiar with I Believe in a Thing Called Love, it basically follows this girl who ends up sort of every time she tries to have any sort of like romantic connection with a boy, she just completely fails, falls on her face, makes a total fool of herself, and it never goes anywhere. And so while watching Korean dramas with her dad, she decides to implement the tactics of Korean dramas in order to try and woo a boy. Now, if you've ever watched a Korean drama, you will know that this is probably going to be insanity. And it is. It is such a fun, ridiculous, over-the-top rom-com. I absolutely adore it. And I think it would really tap into a bunch of audiences, especially that audience who like loves Korean dramas or who loved To All the Boys I Loved Before. I think you're really going to tap into that audience for this book. And also, it's just such a fun story, and the characters are so fun. And I just think it could be a really hilarious romantic comedy. I know that that's a big focus for Netflix coming up because I read an article about that recently. So, and I also love The Way You Make Me Feel. I think that one could also be a really fun romantic comedy film, and that one has to do with food trucks, which I also think people are really interested in. And I love that one because I thought that the Asian rep in it, or the Korean rep in it, is very different from what I think is typically shown, because the family is Brazilian Korean. The dad is from Brazil, but he is Korean, and the main character in that story, she's just very different from how a lot of Asian characters are portrayed in the media, and I very much so appreciate that. So I love both stories. I'd love to see either adapted, but I'm rooting for I Believe in a Thing Called Love because it just has a special place in my heart, because I love a good Korean drama. The next book that I think should be adapted, which I would personally love to see adapted as, again, a miniseries. I think all book lovers tend to want to see their favorite books adapted as miniseries because you want like as much as possible. But I do really think that this story could benefit from a miniseries because I think that even though it is a novel and it's a contemporary novel, I think that there could be a lot of value gained from having a longer conversation. However, my main fear with saying this one is that there's also this fear of like not wanting the subject matter to be sensationalized or to be used in a manipulative way. Anyways, the book that I want to talk about is Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. This series follows a brother and sister who are twins, and they are incredibly close. And at the beginning of the story, you basically find out, along with the sister, that the brother is being accused of rape by one of the sister's best friends. And the whole sort of premise of the story is asking that really hard question of how do you react if someone you love, someone you've only seen as someone who has like been there for you, who has loved you, who has been this like shining light in everyone's life, who does something monstrous. And I think what's so important about this story, and I talked about this back when I like first originally reviewed the book, but what I think is so important about the book is that the guy is not presented as a monster. Like when you get flashbacks, like he's presented as this very kind, good, quote unquote, good person, and he does this monstrous thing. And I think that that's so important because I think so often when assault is brought to court and, juries don't see monsters, they see, their neighbor or whatever, they're not likely to convict because we have this sort of idea in our media, in our culture, that in order to commit an atrocity, you have to like be consistently a horrible person. Like you have to be someone who's like out there killing bugs with magnifying glasses. And that's not the case. Like you could be a consistently nice person to everyone and then be a monster behind closed doors. And I think that story is so important right now. And I think that if someone could take this book and adapt it well, I think that they could really contribute to that conversation. And I think it would be an incredibly buzzworthy either film or miniseries. And I just think it would do so well. And also, I think Ashley Herring Blake deserves so much more credit and acclaim. Like this book was just so brilliant and was a very difficult read, but a very, very good read. I highly recommend all of these books, by the way, to read if you have not read them yet. Like, they are all amazing. And then lastly, to round it all off, I had to throw in a comic, and for that, I am suggesting that someone adapt Snot Girl. Now, Snot Girl is kind of a weird comic. It is very over the top. It would very much so, I think, appeal to sort of that like Archie Riverdale audience. Basically, you're following these like different fashion influencers who spend their life trying to like make amazing content and show off their perfect lives for the internet, but behind the scenes are total messes. And at the same time, you have this like weird mystery conspiracy thing going through. It's actually very Riverdale-like now that I'm saying it out loud, because it is like contemporary, but like with this like mystery element going through that is like a bit over the top and absurd, but also amazing. Yeah, I think this one could be really fun. I think it could I think it could have like Scream Queens vibes or Riverdale vibes, obviously. I think the fashion, it would have to be impeccable. The hair colors, like I think it just could be so fun. And no one has really, from my knowledge at least, looked at, except I remember there was a show on ABC, I think that was way ahead of its time, called Selfie. I think now that show would do really well. I think it just came out a little bit too early for the whole like internet world. But other than that, I can't really think of another film or TV series that has like really looked at sort of that like influencer world and used it in the story, and I think that this could be a really fun use case of that. So I'd love to see that. I think it'd be really fun, and it'd be cool to like actually get like real like fashion and YouTube influencers like involved in some capacity, mostly because I just think it'd be fun to like see my favorite like Instagram fashion people show up on this show. Maybe that would be horrible. That'd probably actually be horrible. I feel like a lot of people just cringed, but I think it'd be fun. So yeah, those are 5 stories that I just think Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, whoever's probably not watching this, no one from there is watching this, but if someone is, please adapt one of these books, make my dreams come true. I think that there is like a legitimate audience for all of these stories, and I don't know, it's my dream. I just want these as stories that I can watch every single day. So I'm putting it out into the universe, and hopefully the universe will give me something back. We'll see. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys watching. What books would you love to see adapted, whether it's by Netflix or whoever? Do you have a preference for who adapts it or how it's adapted? Like, would you rather see it as a film, as a mini-series, as a ongoing series? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye!